Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. So the sun is shining, we're coming into spring, the weather's changing, lockdown is starting to relax slowly and things are looking brighter, but conversations that I've been having over the last week, some exciting and some people are really frustrated. Let's deal with the frustration. So in the UK property market, we've seen that we've got this reprieve of the stamp duty, as I spoke about on Monday, and many other things. You know, since the budget, it's all good. You know, yes, there's a few things on corporation tax, but don't worry, it's still not as anywhere close to somewhere like France, for instance. So I think things are good in general. However, the things where people are been talking to me this week, people are getting really frustrated in the market at this moment. It seems to be one after another that people are viewing properties, and where there is a property for, let's keep the values nice and low for you. Let's say I went to see one with one of my mentees. We saw it was at 150,000 and it was on a modern auction, which meant that there was going to be a £6,000 charge with that property. That's a modern auction charge. The estate agent, it's a nice way they make money and they move on like that. So very interesting. However, when I got there, we looked at it and it was in quite a bad state, but it wasn't terrible. Yes, I think people could live in it, but not very nicely. It needed some work doing it, especially on the outside. It had render all over the house and it was a really bad job. So render, in case you don't, it's like a form of cement. They whack it up against the wall, cover the brickwork, and then they can finish it different ways. They can pebble dash it, you can do all sorts of stuff. But quite often they paint it and that's it. And it sits there, it protects the brickwork. But unfortunately, where the tiles came from the roof down, they had actually put the render here. So all of the water, and there was no gutter on this side of the house because some sides you don't need, but all of the water was going to come down, was coming down behind the render, which meant that it would blow it out and then you get cracking appear, and then you just don't know what's actually going on behind that render, so it's quite difficult. On the side of the house at the base near some of the damp course, it was quite interesting. The brickwork, a lot of brickwork for probably about 7-8 meters on the house, side the house, for about 3 rows of bricks above the damp course. It all corroded away up to even half of the brickwork, which denotes that, you know, there's some sort of maybe salt rising, which is damp, coming through, and they've not dealt with it, and so it just looks really bad. Inside, it just needed a makeover, new kitchen, new bathroom, etc. But when I was speaking, this is the problem. When I was speaking to the agent, I said, okay, how much, you know, it's on for 150, you've got your £6,000, I've got my legals and I've got stamp because I have to pay 3%, which is £4,500. So, you know, straight away, it goes 150 to 160 and the refurb and everything else. The guy agreed that probably you're looking at least £25,000 to do everything, and that was to and that wasn't even taking into the render. Okay, so let's say 25,000. So think about it, we're already over 10,000 just to buy it. Let's say 163. We've got £25,000 to spend on it, so that now comes to 188. You've got to put some lending in there, so let's just call that now another 4,000. We'll call it 192. So I said to the agent, I said, so when it's all done up to a nice standard, because they always like to ask the tag question, you know, it depends the standard you do it up to. I'm going to do it really crap, and that way, you know, no, look, Having said that, I will tell you about something I saw in Cambridge which absolutely shocked me. But we do it to a nice standard. Now, in this area, you're not going to get the high-end kitchen, but you put a Howden's kitchen, which is a perfectly good kitchen. It does what it says on the tin. It'll last if it's installed properly, soft closes, etc. But it'd be a nice standard. Finished nicely, it will last, and it'd be good. So he said if it's really, really nice, somewhere between 175, 180. I said, well, hang on a second. With the numbers that you've given me, let's just work it out. And I worked it out with him. And he said, yeah. He said, yeah, it just doesn't work. So I said, so, what do we do? Where do you think the asking price would be? So, yeah, he said, I can see that a lot less. I said, well, honestly, I said, unless it was, 100 or just over the 100 mark, 102, it's just not worth doing. Because there's no profit in it. For me, obviously I'm an investor, I'm coming to make profit. I don't want to leave money in that property. Now this is typical of what's happening right now. Why? It's a simple answer for you guys. There's this wave, it's a crest of a wave which is just going through the market. It has been. It's starting to drop, and as all waves do, they eventually, when the ground comes up to meet it, they topple over and they crash and they go. So this is what we're in at the minute. So don't get frustrated, just play the longer game. Stay in play. Don't rush in where angels fear to tread. You need to think of just being a little bit more patient. Unless the numbers work on paper, you mustn't touch it. You mustn't. You walk away and you put your position there. I've said to many agents, and I'm viewing more this afternoon. I'm looking at a plot where it's a house where it has a building plot. Good news today, the house that we're building, we're going to buy in Cambridge. The architects come back, we can build 2 more houses on the land fairly comfortably. It shouldn't be a problem with council. And away we go. So that would be another one. But where you're frustrated, you just got to be patient. You have. The main thing is to stay in play with the agent and say, look, I'm really interested. I've got the funds to buy. I just really, really want to get something where it works for me. Now, finding those agents are gold dust who understand you, and if you can get to find those agents, and we found one in this particular area, then that is something really, really good, and it's invaluable to have an agent that understands exactly what you want to do, your numbers, they get it. He actually said on the next property that we saw, which again, it wasn't worth anything near, it was on for 110 and plus the £6,000. And honestly, when I did the numbers again, it just didn't work. And he said, look, we've got 2 lads who've come up from London. They're paying 120 for it. They haven't got an idea. In my opinion, they're a bit foolish, but that's what they've got. They're just showing proof of funds, and so it's still available until the offer's accepted. But once they've validated that they've got the money to pay £120,000 plus the 6 and everything else, it's just not worth it. They're gonna spend more than it's worth. So again, be careful. If you've not gone into property before, you need to be talking to someone like myself, a trainer or whatever. If you're interested in mentorship, we only do 1-to-1, high end. But there's some exciting things. We never stop looking, even though the market is like that. We never stop building relationship with the contacts that we make. And I've got, I think, at least 4 properties to view in these next 2 days, and some land, 2 bits of land as well to build, etc. So look, be encouraged, guys. Don't drop your head, because that's the worst thing to do, is to let your head drop and to say it doesn't work. No, you just keep going. You've got to kiss enough frogs to find that prince, if you like. Look, a lady that I know, Dina Honey, she was in debt at the time, but she was going to all the network meetings, which you must do if you want to find money. You must go to network meetings. They're not always property, but someone had been watching her, and he came up to her. He says, look, I've been watching you for months. I really like you. I've got £200,000. If you can go and find me properties, I'll buy them and I'll give you, I think, 50%, whatever the share was. She went out and she saw 200 properties and she got 6 deals. She offered about 30% below on every single one. And today she's a very wealthy woman. She cleared her debt and everything else and gone on to do really well. But viewing 200 properties, that is effort. That's what it takes. All right. Some of the best deals that I've got is just because I persevere. I just persist. And persistence is the key to success. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please share it. Please subscribe and put your comments. I really like your comments. And have a brilliant week. Be encouraged. Take care. God bless you. Bye-bye.